I really believe we are on the precipice of really huge things in the world of AI video. Welcome back to the channel where we discuss the creative uses of AI, and I know, duh Bob, every single day there's new breakthroughs in generative video AI. But just as everything changed in the AI image generation world when the average user was suddenly able to train their own models on objects or styles or places or people, now of course that's super common, and we talk about how to do that in various ways on this channel, both with paid solutions and open source solutions. Recently, what's made that possible for most people is something called a Lora, which in essence is a file that contains all the information it needs about the customized item, style, or person that you want to be able to use to adjust how the model that Lora was trained on presents a particular image. Until recently, if you wanted to put your own face in an AI-generated video, you had to do some face swapping after the fact, and there's lots of solutions for that as well, both paid and open source. But ideally, wouldn't it be nice to be able to generate the content with the face of the person in there that you don't have to switch it out later? A few of the big platforms recently have introduced that feature. In their 1.5 release, Kling added the ability to create a custom model on a person's face by uploading a collection of videos that gave the model enough information to train on that face so that it can be reproduced in a text-to-video prompt. Vidu has something similar with their reference images, where you can upload up to 3 images of a person's face and then give it a text prompt, and it will try to keep that person's face in the video throughout, again without the need for any sort of face swapping. But in the open source community, we didn't really have options like that, although we are seeing incredible advancements in the space with technologies like LTX and Mochi and Cogx Video and of course Hunyuan. And that's what we're talking about today, because now you can use custom trained Loras in your Hunyuan videos. That's right. Now you have complete control over who's in that Hunyuan video you're generating. Now there is a bit of a caveat. It's not that easy for the average person to train their custom model, although that will change. But even so, I'll show you how to play with it right now and how training one of these custom Loras is done, just in case you can do it on your system. Now for whatever reason, I couldn't get this Comfy UI workflow to run on my system. So in this case, I really needed to use the resources over at Mimic PC. Mimic PC is the sponsor of this video and a regular sponsor on this channel because they provide access to high-end GPUs that can run some of this AI stuff that maybe the average user can't because the GPU prices are too high, or it just takes too much energy, or maybe you have a GPU and you just need more, which is my case. It's free to set up a Mimic PC account, and once you do, you can create all sorts of virtual machines running all sorts of solutions. In this case, we're going to be running Comfy UI, and we're going to be running a workflow that runs this Hunyuan text to video and allows the use of Loras. Once you're logged into Mimic PC, you'll go to the Discover tab, and again today it's right here on the front page, Hunyuan and Lora text to video. If you can't find it there, just go down here to generate videos and you'll find it in that section, I'm sure. To get it running, just click Operate, choose either an Ultra or Ultra Pro to do this. You can take the instant option to make sure you're not interrupted, or you can save 50% and use the bargain machine. Once you get it running, it's going to look like this. They've got this default workflow here. They've got all the models already loaded in. Technically, you don't have to do anything here except give it a prompt. But I will tell you that right now the default dimensions for this job are 1024 by 1024, and I tried that and it took like 20 minutes to get a rendering. It was great, but 20 minutes I'm not doing. So I tried it at 512 by 512. It took far less time and the results were still pretty impressive. The Lora being used here is an Arnold Schwarzenegger Lora, and you can find these Loras over on Civet AI. The best way to do that is just to go to the Civet AI webpage and do a search for Hunyuan, and then on that page you'll see all sorts of things related to that, including Loras. That's what you're looking for here, and this is the Arnold Schwarzenegger one. In addition to Arnold, they have other characters that they've trained, most of which I have no idea who these people are. I'm guessing this is a video game character, this is another character, and I know who Alf is, so I downloaded that one as well. You can scroll through these. I'm sure they're being added to all the time. We do get a clue on how to do this ourselves by clicking into the Alf Lora, and you'll see that this Lora was trained on something called Diffusion Pipe Trainer. The GitHub for it is here, and as I was getting all excited and scrolling down to the installation, it says right here, there are reports that it doesn't work on Windows. This is because blah, 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 and if you want it to work, do this, and I'm not doing what it says. I'm sure this will all come around soon enough. I did try many times to train my own Hunyuan Lora over on a site that allows that, and no matter what I tried or settings I used, this is the best likeness towards me I could get, and of course, it's quite scary. And even with this likeness, when I tried to use used this Lora in the workflow, it didn't work. So stay tuned, because I do believe this is going to be the next big thing. Because already Hunyuan is arguably one of the best open source AI video generators out there, and add to that the ability to create your own Loras and customize the output of the video in this way, that's next level for open source. For the time being, let me show you the results I was getting with these prompts. Now, this is the first one I rendered at 1024 by 1024, and it took 20 minutes, but you'll see there we've got a young Arnold Schwarzenegger here with a machine gun. The prompt was Schwarzenegger, Schwarzenegger, carrying a machine gun on his back, and he is smoking, and it's even misspelled, and that is what we got. That's just the default prompt, just as it came. So not a lot going on in these prompts, so I thought, well, I guess that's the format. I don't know. So all my tests were pretty much variations of this small prompt. I lowered the resolution to 512 by 512. The number of frames on all of these tests stays consistent at 85, as do the steps. I may have played with the steps here and there in a couple of examples, but for the most part, I didn't see that much difference, so I left it where it is. So this is a 512 by 512 video, and the prompt, I simply changed it to carrying a chicken in his arms in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. Clearly there's no chocolate factory, but we did get the chicken in his arms. Here I said carrying a chicken over his head as he wades through a rushing river. We do have great water movement here, again with just 30 steps, and it's still pretty much him. We're losing a little bit of the lightness here, and of course the chicken is absurdly large. Here I changed the prompt to Schwarzenegger rubbing the shoulders of a live garden gnome, and I think it did a pretty good job. I am shocked to see actual movement in the garden gnome. By the way, there's so many of Arnold because at first I didn't know there were other models even available. Here is holding a bowl of ramen noodles close to his face as he shovels them into his mouth to eat them with chopsticks. This is a throwback to any of you who know that he used to do these ramen commercials over in Japan that are crazy. If you've never seen them, do a search. I wanted faster shoveling motion, but even at a lower resolution, we get great details. So this is a great model. I just wish I could train mine that way. Let me show you the result with one of the first models I trained on me. I'm not going to spend a bunch of time showing you the failures because I clearly just don't know how to do this correctly yet. And I've played with the strength of this thing all the way up to 5, and it seems to make no difference. It's almost as if the training I used on this is not recognized as that kind of Hunyuan model, which could be true. But although I used the trigger word I used in creating the model, and I used 20 images of me, and I've obviously looked nothing like this gentleman here, I still get this guy just about every single time. Here he is wearing overalls, feeding slop to a group of pigs on a farm early in the morning. Sadly, we lose a lot of the detail here, but it was Schwarzenegger wearing a Hello Kitty onesie and swinging on a playground swing. He's in there, he's wearing those Terminator glasses, but you know, you just got to trust me on that one. But it did recognize this brand. Here I changed the resolution to 512 by 320 to give it more of a cinematic aspect ratio. Again, I was afraid I was going to lose a lot of detail by that low resolution, but this still does a really good job. Now, this is the ALF model. We see that's loaded right up in here, and they've even been kind enough to tell us that the trigger for this is ALFman. So my prompt was ALFman trying on a pair of blue sunglasses in a Walmart, and there he is, trying on a pair of blue sunglasses, and we just can assume it's a Walmart. Here he is shoving a hot dog in his mouth in a moving subway. I never watched ALF, but as I recall, I think he ate cats or something. So even though there's nothing gross here, the prompt was ALFman shoving kittens into his mouth in a moving subway. He never does that, but we do have him cuddling kittens, and the imagery is really good. We saw that it knew Hello Kitty, but I wanted to see if it knew any celebrities. Like Minimax is very well known for Gordon Ramsay's inclusion in there, and Tom Cruise and other people that love to use that model to do hilarious things. So I thought, well, what can we do with this? So I tried Oprah first of all, because she was in the Minimax model. Oprah Winfrey juggling flaming torches on the kitchen table as the family cheers. Not a lot of cheering, maybe. And it's not Oprah, but it's an approximation of Oprah. One thing you may notice that I caught later was that I actually still had the ALF Lora plugged in here, and I figure it's got to have some influence on this, but I still used this prompt here to see if I could get this guy's lightness a little bit more. But even when I didn't use the Lora, it's still a vague approximation like this. Here's another with Arnold trying to solve a Rubik's Cube in a rushing river, and then ALF trying to solve a Rubik's Cube in a rushing river. So even though right now I'm getting results like this for my Loras, and it can be a little bit discouraging, I know that within weeks this is all going to be ironed out, and people like you and me are going to be able to create videos using the Hunyuan model with Loras that we are able to create ourselves, hopefully on our own machines, but certainly somewhere. And this just opens up a huge new world of creative possibilities for those who are tired of subscriptions and censorship. I will of course leave a link to this workflow down below, and if these are the types of technologies you like to stay up to date on, well, why not subscribe to this channel? Because these are the types of things we discuss all the time.
If you subscribe now, I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you do not, I will look for you. I will find you. And I